Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to Outdoor and Door Texan. Today I'll be showing y'all how to spatchcock and smoke a whole turkey on a medium big green egg. Spatchcocking a turkey takes only a few extra steps, and this method guarantees a more even cook, and it's usually a faster cook to boot. As always, make sure to check the description below for all the ingredients and supplies necessary for this cook. And once you got everything rounded up, let's get to cooking. We're going to start this recipe with an overnight brine. Now this is something I do as a rule of thumb with just about every type of bird I smoke. Brining doesn't alter the flavor as much as people think it does, but it definitely improves the moisture throughout your meat. And a dry bird is a bad bird. In a large stock pot with 1 gallon of water in it, add 1 cup of kosher salt, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 4 sprigs of rosemary, and 6 sprigs of thyme. Now to ensure the ingredients are well dissolved into the water, bring your pot up to a boil. Once it hits that boil, take it back off and let it completely cool. While cooling, add your final ingredient to the brine, 2 to 3 quartered oranges. Alright, the brine is now completely cooled. If you're in a rush like I was, you can always add a few cubes of ice to speed up the process. Now we need somewhere to brine the turkey. For me, I'm using a cooler, but if you have a big enough pot and enough space in your fridge, go for it. I pre-chilled my cooler with a bag of ice, which I'm now taking out, and then simply pour your concentrated brine into the cooler. After the brine, in goes the whole turkey. Now take that bag of ice and pour it over your turkey. Then add more water until the turkey is completely submerged. For those of y'all worried about the turkey's core temp while it's in this brine outside of a refrigerator, you can rest assured that actually food science is keeping it fine. There's a chemical reaction between the salt content in your brine and the 5 pounds of ice that'll keep this environment well within safe temperature ranges. Some of you may remember making homemade ice cream with one of those hand crank machines on the front porch of your grandparents' house. If you do, first off, probably great childhood. Secondly, you'll hopefully remember that you need rock salt plus ice to super chill the container in order for ice cream to freeze. Same chemical reaction here. You can brine your turkey overnight or even longer depending on preference and timing. Just make sure to check on the temp and the amount of ice still left in it if it's going super long term. Okay, it's now the next day. Take the turkey out of your brine, then give it a good rinse in the sink, helping get all that excess salt off the surface. Finally, pat the skin as dry as you can possibly get it with a paper towel. Now we're going to spatchcock the bird. For those of y'all brand new to this term, it simply means we're going to butterfly this turkey flat. First step in that process is taking a very sharp knife or poultry scissors and removing the spine by cutting along both sides until it's free. Now to actually butterfly your bird, free up any excess fat and skin holding the sides together. Then make a shallow incision on the breastbone at the center of the carcass. Finally, flip your bird over and press down until flat. The trick I always do with my turkey legs so they sit correctly is to make a small incision on the apron of skin beneath the legs. Then stuff the leg bone through that hole so that they're tucked more inward. Like I said, this looks a whole lot better. Also, it shields a portion of the breast meat from direct heat. Finally, tuck your wings back straight behind the breast. And now you're pretty much an expert at spatchcocking turkeys. As far as seasoning goes, I like to keep it simple. I give the turkey a healthy slather of olive oil and then sprinkle over a mixture of 1/3 salt to 2/3 coarse ground pepper. You really don't want to get too much more with the salt because you have to remember it's sat overnight in a salty brine. Once the rub is set, you're pretty much ready to go. Let's head outside and get that smoker rolling. I'm smoking this turkey on a medium big green egg, but just about any indirect smoker that can stick to 275 degrees Fahrenheit will do just fine. However, for those following along with similar setups, I'm smoking indirect using a plate setter with legs up situated so that one leg is in the back. I'm also using a water pan to ensure a good moisture-filled environment as well as to act as a heat sink. As far as wood goes, I'm using oak lump charcoal and apple wood chips spread over the top layer. Toss on your bird with the legs facing the highest heat source, which is typically the back for big green egg users. Also, make sure to use a remote temperature probe placed into the breast meat. If you don't have one, I'll be sure to leave my recommendation in the description below. Close your lid, make sure the temp settles back to 275, and we'll come back to check on it in an hour. Okay, so it's been 1 hour and we're going to give the turkey a quick touch up. Take 1 stick of butter melted and give the turkey's skin a nice drizzle. If you have a baster, that might be an even more effective method of spreading the goodness. Now's also a good time to add any further seasoning sprinkles. You can stick with the initial salt and pepper rub or branch out from there. I'm using Musket Powder's White Label, which is a coffee and ranch combo that is out of this world. The flavors are subtle enough where it won't derail the turkeyness going on, but it still provides a little bite of something different. Whatever you end up using though, just make sure it's not too heavy with salt. We're now hitting the 2-hour mark and checking on the turkey again. Internal temp is close to 165, so it'll be up to you on whether you want to add another round of butter and seasoning here. I just went with a little bit more butter and closed her back up. Okay, the internal temp in the breast just hit 165, and we're going to use a handheld probe just to double check some other spots. And with the averages reading at around the same temperature, it's time to take our turkey off and head into the kitchen for carving. And there you have it, one very pretty spatchcocked and smoked turkey. The skin turned a beautiful golden brown thanks to all that butter basting, and thankfully it didn't over blacken with too much smoke. You can see as I start to remove the legs and wings that it's still extremely tender and juicy. The turkey legs barely needed the knife to pull free. Removing the breast, you can see that the meat is cooked perfectly throughout with no blood or pinkness, but again, tons of moisture thanks to that overnight brine. And just like that, you are done and dinner is served. The overall cook time took just over 2.5 hours on the smoker, which is far faster than smoking a traditional turkey, or doing one in the oven for that matter. We're left with golden brown skin, perfect smoke-infused moist meat, and a table full of happy and fat bellies. That'll do it for this recipe, and thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever tried spatchcocking a turkey before and what tips and tricks work for you. For those of y'all prepping and stressing for your first spatchcock smoked turkey, I always try to be available to my viewers, so don't be shy in leaving a quick question. If you're new to the channel, I hope I've been helpful in sharing my perspective on things, and please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more great content to come. Alright y'all, take care.